Globally, all humans aspire to a better life. We hold big dreams in our heart, whether it's for our family, in business, or the sheer adventure of breaking boundaries to achieve greatness. When the spark of motivation ignites us to go for our dream, our high resolve impacts the whole world. Historical figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, and the Dalai Lama all transcend borders. Now, we are turning the spotlight on this generation of motivators, the power of positivity, and the can-do spirit in hopes to reach every corner of the earth.
How do we actually help people have the results they want to have?
We feature leaders who are ready to unleash our full potential as individuals, communities, states, and countries on the biggest stage there is.
Most people are living through their senses. We've got to work from the inside out, from the upside down.
This is World's Greatest Motivators.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. We're back.
Welcome.
We are back. I'm Lynn Kitchen, and we're so happy you're here.
Yes, we are. And I'm Julie Jones Hamilton, and we're so happy to share with you the best of the best in motivation.
Yes, we are. We are delighted. So welcome to the World's Greatest Motivators show. Julie and I are your host, and we share with you the best teachings of some of the best world's greatest motivators on the planet today.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And right now, we'd love to celebrate you. Let's give you a shout out. If you will, please put your name and where you're from in the chat. We'd love to honor you.
We would love to honor you. And yet tonight we have someone very, very special just for you. We're so thrilled, and we know you're going to enjoy this meeting, this very special guest, Dr. Randall Bell, one of our closest and dearest friends. Let me tell you a little bit about him.
Yes.
Dr. Randall Bell is a PhD, a socioeconomist, and he's the CEO of Landmark Research Group, LLC. Prior to this, he led a national practice at PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the world's largest consulting firms. He has consulted on some of the most complex disasters and situations, such as the World Trade Center, the Flight 93 crash sites, the British Petroleum oil spill, Hurricane Katrina, and so many more.
That's right.
He is amazing.
He is. He's an expert. And they call him all around the world because of what he does. He's also an author and a great humanitarian and such a wonderful gentleman. We are so honored and we are so blessed to have with us today Dr. Randall Bell. Yay.
Yay. Welcome, Randy. Oh, welcome. So good to see you.
Hi, Julie and Lynn, two of my favorite people. It's great to be here.
It's an honor to have you.
Yes, I'm so happy.
Well, the honor's all mine. Thanks.
Oh, yes. Oh, so hi, Dr. Randall Bell. Maybe we call you Randy.
Whatever you want.
Okay, thank you. Hey, everyone, put Randy in the chat. Randy in the chat. Randy's with us. We're so blessed. Randy, it's so good to see you. I'm so happy you're here. We've shared your bio already, so everyone knows what an extraordinary man you are. And especially, come on, being a graduate with professional training in both psychology and economics, which gives you such a unique perspective. Okay, so not only are you a dear friend of ours and a family friend, but you are also at the filming of World's Greatest Motivators.
I know. I'm in some very good company. You guys track the very best, so I'm lucky to be tagging along.
Oh, that is so cool. Well, so what would you say your perspective was on seeing all the motivators together in one place?
Oh, it was mind-bending. You've had 2 live events, at least that I know of. I've been to both of them. And it was just, I believe in this stuff. Because back when I was in grad school at UCLA, I read Zig Ziglar and listened to his tapes, and I caught on real fast that your mindset really has a direct correlation to your performance. And so those days, you never get too old to get amped up and get recharged. And you guys delivered big time.
Oh, it was so fun, and Randy, we're so happy that you were there. We are your number one fan as well. So yeah, we so appreciate you so much. And Randy, you've lived an extraordinary life, and in your fascinating book that we want everybody to read, it's called Me, We, Do, Be.
Yeah.
In that book, you wrote that the world is flooded with information, but starving for wisdom. I love that. And, so many of us can feel overloaded and full of anxiety, anxiousness, and a general state of restlessness, especially now, I think, in these difficult and complex times. So this is a perfect time for you to come and share with us all. Could you reveal why some people absolutely fail miserably, quite badly, and yet some survive and even others thrive in the very same conditions around the world? Could you tell us why you think that actually occurs?
Well, it's mindset, it's attitude, and it's nothing more complicated than that. That's why these attitude adjustments are so essential. That's why the work that both of you are doing is so critically important, I think, because, having those adjustments to our attitude can take us in an entirely different direction. It's like an airline pilot, 1 degree off and you're landing in Anchorage instead of, New York. You got to stay on course with the whole game plan for life. You just can't kind of react to what comes at you. You have to have a direction, and that direction is our attitude.
Yeah, it sounds like a thermostat, setting this thermostat.
Yeah.
Being present. That reminds me of Abraham Lincoln. He had a quote that he's going to be as happy as he makes up his mind to be. It's in the mind, making up our mind and mindset. That's so good, Randy. Yeah, also, there are so many fascinating stories in your book. I recommend everyone read it, by the way. When you were, Randy, when you were having, you're known for extensive, proven strategic strategies in problem solving. I mean, those are your skills. Mm-hmm. So, you also talk about something that's really fundamental. And that's about the 4 pillars of the foundational pillars and principles. So could you share with the audience the significance of learning them and how to build this foundation in what you call authentic growth, despite, as Lynn was mentioning, all the confusion and the apparent disasters and isolation that some may be experiencing today?
Well, sure, Julie. As you know, I studied disasters as a career, and I've worked on everything you can think of, from the World Trade Center to the O.J. Simpson and John Benet Ramsey. I've been there behind the scenes trying to patch things up the best that can be done in light of these horrible circumstances. And happiness is what we're really driving for. And there's some great science. All the research I do is grounded in published studies in science. And happiness has 3 components. 50% of our happiness is from our DNA. And so it's just a gift or it's not a gift. And if it's not a gift in terms of our DNA, we can visit with the psychologists or whoever the healthcare providers are to kind of balance that out. So that way we kind of have half our happiness determined. What's amazing is only 10% of our happiness comes from our circumstances. So I'm meeting people that have been in some horrific circumstances, and sure, they can be crushed by that for a short amount of time, no question about it. But 40%, and this is the key, 40% of happiness comes from our daily habits. And so we make choices. And we do things that really control a big part of our happiness with those choices. So I'm going to use my book cover as kind of to illustrate these points. I broke it down between me, we, do, and be. We all agree there are bad habits that will wreck our lives. I think we know what they are. And if that's true, and it's true, we can choose rich habits that kind of turn things in a positive direction. So, we can go through each of the cornerstones here, me, we, do, be, and kind of specifically identify daily habits that are simple and have profound statistical success with however you want to measure success, education, money, just a sense of happiness, however you want to do it. So I'm ready to get into the conversation and talk about these specific habits.
Yes, that's exactly what the next question is.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I love it that you are a self-described disaster expert, really. And that's an unusual thing to claim. There are not very many people who actually study the psychology of disaster and then help people to overcome it.
Yeah, and the economics.
And the economics of that as well. So I know you have such rich perspective on that. On a personal note, also how we can get into pretty disastrous situations and go all the way down. And there is usually an inflection point that, bottoming out is a good example of, and then you have to move back up the channel. And I love your book. I love those 4 quadrants because you make it so simple and easy. And I would love it for you to just dive into those 4 quadrants. But before we do, let's have everybody put into the chat 4 quadrants, right on. Then they're so easy.
Yeah.
Right
Put
on.
in 4, right on.
4 quadrants, right on. So let's start with the first one.
Yeah. Well,
that is me. Me. I want to start with me.
I want to start with me.
It starts with us.
Start with me.
It starts with me.
It does.
Yeah.
It's me.
And our mindset.
Mindset.
So here's some fun facts. Readers, people that read, and by the way, reading can be an audiobook too, or watching programs like this, but gathering information. Though readers and those who gather information just dominate all the statistical measures in terms of income and education. They just dominate. I mean, we can go through the numbers, but that's the basic thing. And 92% end up in college in terms of those who are gathering information want to read. So the me quadrant is really those who are curious, stay curious, and just gobble up information. Stuff like which you are producing with World's Greatest Motivators, that has a real measurable effect. You'll be in the 90% or plus quadrant in terms of education and everything else, just with that one particular habit.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. And then when you move on to we, so you're growing into the plural, but also now it's becoming a culture.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And before there's one more thing. I'm going to jump right there, but there's one more thing I want to mention about the me quadrant is that you want to guess what is the number one habit. And by the way, I went and surveyed 5,000 people in the United States, Canada, Australia, and Great Britain. Okay, 5,000 people, and statistically measured daily habits with different measures of success. You want to guess what is number one, and it starts with the me quadrant?
Tell us.
Wait. Let me think. Let me see if I can guess. The number one for me.
Yeah, or number one of all the habits, but it happens to start with me.
Me first.
It's daily quiet time. Building spirituality, meditation or prayer, however you want to do it, number one.
Wow,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's good to know. Julie and I have that habit, and I'm sure you do too.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about our own personal habits, actually, Julie and I are going to be instituting next week a challenge online right here. It's called the Can Do Challenge, where we're going to challenge people and their mindset to the can-do attitude. And really, more than that, it's the spirit, the can-do spirit. And sometimes I feel like each one of us can move into a greater place of spiritual, of the spirit of it, the spirit of, like you said, the quiet time, which undergirds and really is the foundation for everything that we can do. But what would you say on an individual basis? What does it take to sustain personal success? Is there a habit that helps people sustain, not just get motivated, but stay motivated?
Yeah, we just lost our dear friend Bob Proctor, who was kind enough to endorse my book along with some other heavyweight greats. And I think he had it right in terms of vibration and being aware of that. When we talk about spirituality and daily quiet time, it's kind of a ticklish subject because some people, are uncomfortable with those conversations. And that's why I leave it wide open to however people want to, how to decide that for themselves. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to pick one habit that is going to keep you propelled in a positive direction the rest of your life, it's that daily practice of daily quiet time and filling it in with whatever you're comfortable with. And I feel like I'm going to,
Well, it's kind of like quieting the mind,
exactly.
Just quieting the mind, reflection, music, a focus, a read, a devotional, quieting the mind. Kind of sets the tone for the day. We have a picture we're going to show of you and Bob.
Oh, good. Okay.
At the filming. We'll show that.
Wonderful guy. Wonderful
guy.
Oh,
absolutely.
And Sarah Lazar came out of Harvard University and has at least a dozen articles published in professional journals. I've read them all about just deep breathing exercises. They actually do brain scans of the brain and they show the growth, the physical measured growth of the human brain with deep breathing exercises. Now you can call it grounding or meditation, or I don't really care what you call it, but that practice of daily quiet time has astounding effects that is being published by Harvard University. So this is science. Yeah,
that's incredible. That breathing, being conscious breathing, it reminds me of math heart or heart math. The breathing techniques. Yeah,
the biofeedback, right?
Biofeedback and
So Lynn, you asked a great question. We've kind of covered some of the me.
Yes.
And I've revealed the number one habit of all with all this research. But we is where we connect with other people. And, again, kind of channeling what Bob Proctor would say is with the me, we kind of send out a vibration or an energy. And with that energy, we attract the right people, the we. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. We want to attract the right ones. The number one habit that really stood out in my mind, which is so simple, but so critically important, is having family dinners together. Those who have family dinners are 40% happier than those who do not. And dominate in again, a number of other things, whether it be education, wealth building, all the other habits, health, having simple family dinners together, we dominate.
That's kind of like a community coming together in community, conversation, share, and wow.
And it's really shared values that way, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Randy, that's the place where parents can teach shared values, but also the sharing of food. And in every culture, that is such a beautiful and nurturing way to nourish our soul and really give everybody validation that you're okay, And I think you're right, but it's a gathering of and it's like a reward at the end of the day and coming together. I just love that you found that was the number one key.
Do you know what the number two is in the we?
In the we?
Or some other fun facts.
Well, I've got a whole bunch as we work through them. But just being aware that life is not a solo exercise. We've got to connect with people, and we got to connect with the right people. One of the habits, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but simply smiling. We have something called the mirror neutron, where when we smile, people smile back. There's a science behind that. So simply smiling, instead of going around grumpy, has measurable effects. But they all do. But connecting with people is essential. And I've never met a single successful people, and a lot of my clients are billionaires. They're certainly all millionaires. I've never met a single one where they did it all by themselves. They always were part of a team, and having that team spirit is absolutely essential.
That's right, a team spirit, and that being together and accountability, and we're not meant to do this alone. We're here to be together and to learn and grow from each other. May I share a quick little story about a smiling exercise?
Sure.
My son and I were on an airplane one time, and we were sitting right there, and he was next to me, and we were kind of closer up, and the people were coming in. And when people come down the aisle of an airplane, they're looking for their number, they're carrying stuff. And I nudged my son and I said, hey, let's smile at them and see who smiles back. So we both sat there, and as they would walk, coming up, we'd be smiling. And when they looked down at us, they would smile. Now, rarely did we get one who looked at us and just didn't want to be bothered. They're looking for their seat. They just want to get in. But we would laugh, we would smile and nudge each time they would smile. And it's interesting what we noticed, and we talked about it afterwards. What we noticed is that they paused a moment and then went and looked for their seat. They paused a moment. They kind of smiled.
A little surprised, probably.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they were surprised. Here, both of us are grinning, Cheshire cats, smiling. But he noticed it. He said at first, he said, Mom, do you see how much more calm they became after they smiled? It was like, oh, okay, where's my seat? It wasn't that franticness energy you feel when everyone's trying to board a plane.
Yeah.
Just because
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna do that with my kids. Thanks for sharing.
Do that with your kids, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
There's also Mary Morrissey, who's one of our motivators. As you know, you were there, you saw her. She teaches, I think it's a Cambodian or a exercise. Lynn, is it Cambodia or is it Indonesia? An exercise where people will honestly, to get their energy going, will begin to laugh purposely.
That's Japanese.
Is it Japanese?
Yes.
It doesn't have any purpose except to create that belly laughter. And they start. And as you start, even if you're pretending to laugh, the more you do that and do it, it just kind of happens. It's contagious. Like the video on TikTok, you see the guy on the bus who has his ear pad and he starts laughing so hard, and all of a sudden everyone around him on the bus starts laughing.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Yeah, well, laughter in and of itself, just turning on the comedy channel, in the car once in a while, music and comedy can shift a mood. I've read several studies, anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes. You can be in the worst mood and you listen to the right music, preferably Led Zeppelin, or or you just get a laugh. You're going to shift a mood every time.
Every time. That's great.
Yeah,
that is great. I was watching Abbott and Costello the other day, about 5 minutes, and I was laughing so hard. I can now remember what I felt like before and after. It was the shift.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
For sure. So, just being aware of these habits. And, Julia, you were saying this, I was looking for one statistic. It's rich habit number 14. I've got dozens of habits in the book. I'm going to read this to you because you reminded me.
Okay, please.
Those who tend to smile and speak positively are 43.5% more likely to be happy. And if that doesn't cut it, they are also 46% more likely to be millionaires.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, everyone, take note.
Oh, take note.
Everybody, please put a smiley face for
Put a
Randy.
smiley face or a smile, and then next to it put a dollar sign.
Yeah. A smiley face and a
Smiley
dollar sign for Randy.
Yes, absolutely. Very good.
And those who remember birthdays are 14.1% more likely to be happy. You know, things that connect us with other people.
Oh, yeah.
Simple little things, you know, simply a text. I've had people, and I'm sure you have too. I have their birthdays on the calendar, and I'll send a text. Hey, you know, I mean, who wants to remember your birthdays after the 60s? You know, you guys don't know about that, but someday you will. But I do. And you know, and you get a text back saying you're the only person that remembered. Thank you. You know.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Well, that's extraordinary. The fact that you actually have isolated all of these facts and figures that everyone can go and study and find out what they can do to improve themselves, not only in the me quadrant, but the we quadrant.
Yeah.
Are you ready to move to the next quadrant? I'm so excited.
I got just a couple more.
On the we, yay.
Okay. Some people now, all the sports fans are going to love me for this one. Are you ready?
Oh, great. Yeah.
All right. This is rich habit number 16. Take me out to the ball game. Some habits show unexpected correlations and are great news for sports fans. Those who regularly attend sporting events have a 45.6% better romantic life than those who do not, and a whopping 209% better chance of being very happy. Sports.
Wow.
That's a big percentage.
Yeah.
Well, when's the next football game? Basketball,
You know
March
what?
Madness.
March Madness right here. We've got, oh my gosh, we're a big college, Wildcats right here for, that's interesting you say that. Make sure my father, as an additional gift, I probably will send it to him before Father's Day. I'll send it to him right away. I have another copy of your book. I love your book. I give it out. It's so good. I'm going to send one to him. When we were growing up as kids in high school, one of our family together times was Sunday because he had season tickets to the LA Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. And so every Sunday we would drive out. We were an hour south from about 40 miles south of Los Angeles where I grew up. And we'd drive up to the Lakers game and watch the Lakers and got involved and loved it. So it's a great one.
And there's a few do not things before we move on.
Oh yeah.
One is
we need those.
We need those. Yeah, we got to stay clear of some bad habits. Well, rich habit number 19 is get the word out. Positive communication adds value. Those who tend to be sarcastic tend to be 20% less happy. So we got to turn the dial down a little bit on the sarcasm. Yeah.
I'm in favor of that for sure.
Yeah, that's
and
that's
the
not my
thing,
preference.
Same thing with gossip, and this one's even more serious. Those who don't gossip are 111.1% more happy than those who don't gossip. Staying away from gossip has very measurable results. Wow. It's like Bob Proctor said, our vibe attracts our tribe. We got to send out the right vibe and stay away from these bad habits.
And I love, somebody said to me just the other day that the opposite of gossip, because, I think this is a good phrase, is respecting those who are not present.
Yeah. I love that. That. And one more on the on the we. And I tried this out in my own neighborhood. You'll love this one. Rich habit number 22, catch the wave. Those who wave to their neighbors are up to 69.8% more likely to be very happy compared to those who do not. Furthermore, those who have more than $1 million in net assets are 63.8% more likely to wave to their neighbors as compared to those who are in debt. So I come from, I just sold the house after 20 years, but I used to live in Coto de Casa where they filmed Real Housewives of the OC. Yes. And nobody waved. Nobody looked at each other. It's one of those communities with the big houses. You drive in the driveway, go in the garage and shut the door and you don't know your neighbors. So I thought, I'm going to try this out because I was writing the book. So I started waving at people that, who are jogging or walking or driving by. And at first they were looking at me like I was some sketchy dude, but I just kept it. I just kind of waving it. And after a while, people were waving to me before I even waved to them. It catches on. It catches on.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I used to think when Jimmy coming from the South, everybody waves. I have another girlfriend who lived across the street and she was from Illinois, Lynn. And she would always wave, just wave, wave, wave. And I wasn't used to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when Jimmy and I were in Hawaii and he's waving and these people looked at him like, oh my God, what are you doing? and I said, Jimmy, and he said, hey, I wave. I love to wave.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was visiting Paris, France, and is known to be a little bit more stuffy to other cultures at the time, I would just smile and then somebody would just look at me and like, what are you doing? But I would smile anyway, and wave and smile because I was so happy to be there. I just loved their culture. And it was interesting because I got a bit of a scowl response back, but it didn't matter. I was the one who was happy.
There you go. I love it.
You were the one who felt it and so happy to be there. It's just like, good.
I love that, Lynn. Yeah. So yeah, we've covered me and some daily habits. All of these are so tiny and small, but they have these profound effects. And then we've covered that. So you ready to move on to do?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, again, just
so good.
Andy.
Yeah. Quick refresher, our attitudes, the people we connect with, how to make those relationships better. And then do is, roll up our sleeves and getting the work done. Okay, now this is a fun one. Have you heard that statistic about making your beds?
Yes.
Okay.
No, wait a minute.
I have not.
No,
Please.
no.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
I walked in the office once and the PR person came running up to me and she said, you can't believe it. You're being quoted all over ESPN. And I go, what are you talking about? I was baffled. Well, one of the NFL stars had gotten the book and read it, and he was now making his bed in the morning over this statistic. And a lot of people start talking about it. So here we go. Rich habit number 25, make your bed. Those who do their chores and keep their living space tidier tend to make more money. For example, those who make their beds in the morning are up to 206.8% more likely to be millionaires as compared to those who have a negative net worth. So simply making your bed in the morning, you know what it does? It gets your mind in a productive mindset, which carries through the whole day.
It sure does. It's also accomplishment. I feel accomplished. We've done one thing, even that small, to make it feel. When I walk in a bedroom and the beds are made, or if I've ran out or forgotten, I come in and it's not a good feel.
Yeah.
You know what, Randy? I just love that. And I have a personal morning habit when I make the bed. I actually bless the bed. I bless the bed and and the day. I bless the day because we jump out of bed. A lot of people have morning blessing the day, morning habits, but I just happens to do it while I'm making the bed.
Wow.
Lynn, that is great. I'm trying that. I'm going to borrow that.
Yeah.
Bless it. Oh my gosh, that is such a good idea.
That's going in the next edition, Lynn. That's
all
great.
Right.
I'll give you credit.
Yeah, just to bless. I've seen, again, I'm going to share another personal story.
Yeah.
Where my husband, he gets up early. And so then I love making the bed because I love how it makes me feel when it's made. And so I remember one time I had just finished making it, felt so good, was going downstairs, and all of a sudden he comes running in and he says, I'm going upstairs. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to get back in the bed. And my first thought was, oh gosh, I just made it. And he comes in and I said, why? And he wouldn't say anything. He just walked right upstairs, went right into the bed, took out threw everything out, took off his clothes, climbed in the bed, and he literally rolled to the other side, got out, threw the covers up, come over, put his clothes on, and he said, I got up on the wrong side of the bed, and I wanted to physically get up on the right side of the bed. And that's a true story.
I love that. That is awesome.
Isn't that a good one?
That's a great one. That's going in with Lynn's story.
Okay. All right. You can certainly use it. Now, I've never tried that, although it sounds like a good idea when those things happen. So I encourage anyone, if you ever have that issue, try it. If it's a grumpy day or something happens, go back and get in and roll out on the
That's
right
a do-over.
It's a do-over.
That's a do-over. And this is for the do
That's
quadrant.
for the do, because you can do it.
Do it.
I love that. I love that. Well, here's right along with the themes of bed and the do habits. I got another one for you. Rich habit number 26 is get some sleep. We're talking about self-care. Getting enough sleep strongly correlates to wealth, happiness, romance, and education. Those who do get enough sleep are 25.2% more likely to have a college degree. So, we always think that, hey, I'm going to be successful by cutting, eating junk food and getting, on the road faster and getting less sleep and go. Not true. You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's like waiting to cram to the very end and up all night, and then it's time for the test, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now, would that also be in pacing and moderation and all those others? Would that be in the do?
Yeah, I mean, self-care, all of that, and also another little habit I just picked up on is just taking the elevator ride up. I'll just take that time to just close my eyes and breathe deeply. If you put a blood pressure monitor on your arm and you measure your blood pressure and then you take 10 deep breaths, you will see a measurable drop in blood pressure. So keeping that blood pressure under control, and what's really going on, it's the physiology of it all, but it resets the flight freeze mode from the amygdala in the brain. So deep breathing has a very measurable effect, not just on the blood pressure, but on our overall stress. So taking care of ourselves with these little tiny things, day after day, it adds up to big results.
I can imagine that people could probably do that habit more while they're driving in the LA traffic.
Yeah, you're not going very fast, are you? Yeah. Well,
it's certain calm you down, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah. I heard someone else, another mentor, say that the two most important things is breathing and water.
I hadn't thought of the water, but the breathing, that makes sense.
That more people need to do deep breathing and drink more water.
Yeah, I'm getting so much great material for the next edition.
Okay.
Keep going. No, I want more.
I want more. Yeah, tell us. Yes. And I want to be with you.
More.
I want to be with you. Add with, contributing. Lynn and Julie
contributing author. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So I got another one with the do habits. Rich habit number 28. Excuse me. Get the lead out. Taking care of one's health is ranked as the number one of the do habits that people are most proud of. Those who have good exercise habits ranked as being most proud of that habit above anything else. I'm proud of it. I'm up skiing. I just spent 10 days straight skiing. And that's because exercise is so important. Let's face it. I run in the summertime, but wintertime, skiing is what gets me out. You got to figure out what's going to get you out and moving and do it. And the more enjoyable, the better. I don't even feel like I'm exercising, but the day before yesterday, I got on the slopes at 10 and came in at 5. I mean, that's minus lunch. That's about 6 hours of exercise. Find what's going to work. And exercise, that's a really critically important habit, and make it enjoyable if you can.
Well,
love it.
Lynn, she's on the tennis courts all the time. She's a tennis player.
But I love it when you say find something that you love, because that's part of motivation and staying motivated. Yes. Because of the joy that you receive in return, and obviously it has benefits.
Yeah. It
Number
sure does.
number one benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to throw in a bad habit here just to keep
Yes,
us,
we've got to balance this.
Rich habit number 30 is to keep in shape. Poor eating habits are ranked as the number one worst habit. So daily quiet time in the morning with deep breathing and prayer, meditation, grounding, whatever you want to call it, is number one of all the habits. Number one. The number one worst habit is poor eating, and procrastination is number two, and a lack of exercise is number three. So we want to focus on the do's, but be aware of the don'ts.
Excellent.
Okay, so you said it's eating. Eating, procrastination, that's a mindset. And then lack of exercise.
Yeah, lack of exercise. And then we'll do the top five. Not being on time, being tardy is number four. And number five, the worst habit is worrying. Just sitting around worrying is a bad one. Those are the top five worst habits.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know, because there is an antidote to each one of them in this book, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's all correlated statistically. Of course, smoking and drinking are in here. You know, the correlations, we already know about that. And then keeping your desk organized, you're 2.77% more likely to be financially successful if your desk is organized, as opposed to a bomb went off on it.
And walking away and coming back the next day trying to find that one piece of paper.
Yeah. I had a client and I misspoke when I said that all my clients are millionaires and billionaires. I was thinking of one section of my business. I have a lot of clients that are just starting out and not in that situation. But I have one client who is a very successful attorney, but he read the book and he called me up over the weekend. He was so excited to say that he'd gone in to clean up his desk, which had been a mess for decades. And his secretary came in, was in utter shock. His productivity was already high. It went through the roof.
Oh, wow.
Love it. And that's something simple.
That's
something simple. That's like making your bed.
Yeah, or taking breaths on an escalator or an elevator.
Yeah. And here's another fun one, kind of like along the lines, Julie, where you're talking about smiling going down the aisle of the airplane. Rich habit number 34 is to keep it clean. Those who respect their communities and pick up other people's trash are 30.2% more likely to earn more than $100,000 a year.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. I was with a CEO once of a company, big company, and we just had lunch and we were walking back to her office through the parking lot. And I was talking to her, and then I looked, she was gone. I didn't know what happened. I turned around and she had stopped to pick up a cigarette butt in her parking lot and put it in the trash. Not kidding. No chore was behind her. And that's the kind of mindset that distinguishes the achievers from frankly, the wannabes, the ones that are willing to do these little things. And that had such a big impact on me because I had never even thought of doing that. And down at the beach in Laguna Beach, where I live part of the year, the school kids actually go out and pick up the trash from the beach and keep the community clean. Those are just really cool habits, and it's getting the right mindset into those kids.
Absolutely. Even when you're walking into a store, see something, pick it up. These are all habits that we can all we can do.
Well, what I love, yes, we can do. What I love is that it's correlated to income. This is kind of interesting because then you have a success factor.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love the research. Okay.
Yeah, and again,
more Randy.
More. Well, here's another one. Gambling. Gambling's one thing for a little bit of entertainment where you set kind of a sensible limit. I'm not saying anything negative about that. But when we get carried away and we're gambling away the rent check, obviously horrible correlations with education and wealth and that kind of thing. But those are, there's a whole bunch. I mean, I have dozens of them, but it's fun going through and talking about them. But those are some of the do habits. Are you ready to move on to B?
Let's be.
Yes.
Okay.
Love B.
Yeah. So me,
or
mindset, we, our connection with others, do is getting our work done. B is what we're becoming. Okay, that's really our direction. That's
all right. So
our
to
goal.
recap, the me habits, when we install them, the we habits we install with our community, our peers, our group, our family. The do is the navigation, doing the effective things, that even the small ones. And as a result, we move into who we become.
Yeah, what we're becoming, right? Setting our goals, creating a legacy. Bob Proctor left a brilliant legacy.
Yes.
And if you watch what he did, he started with his mindset. He connected with the right people like Julie and Lynn, really, and giving that big platform to Bob. Bob was a worker. He was not a lazy guy.
No,
then look at what he became. Okay. It follows a very simple, sensible, progression of issues here. So the become habits, I volunteer. The state of California kind of switched things up, but for years, I volunteered at the homeless shelter in Laguna Beach. And I taught these habits to the homeless. And I've seen this stuff really work. I mean, for real, I saw homeless person one after another get jobs, get reconnected with their families. And it was all a result of doing these little habits. And so I just want to pause and tell people, we've been through a dozen habits so far, and there's lots. Just pick one. Don't try and do them all. I was once having this conversation with the homeless group, and this one guy came every week. It was very quiet. One day he got all charged up and he goes, "You know what, Dr. Bell, I'm going to get up. I'm going to do 50 push-ups a day. I'm going to go to the library and read because reading is free and the libraries are open to me. And I'm going to go down to the beach. I'm going to run and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick up trash." And he just exploded. I said, time out. Just pick one. What's your one habit? And he goes, "All right, I'll pick one. I'm going to do 50 push-ups a day." And I said, "Okay, hang on. Your commitment to yourself, to me, to this group is to do 2 push-ups a day. You want to do 48 more, go for it. But just do 2 push-ups a day, but really do them." And the next day he came back, or the next week he came back and he says, "You know what? I did my 2 push-ups." And I said, "That's great. Okay, what do you want to do this week?" He says, "I'm going to do 10. The next week he came back, he says, "Some days I could only do 4 or 5. I said, "That's okay. That's okay. Okay, let's back it down to 5. And he did 5. And then the next week, you see where the story is going. He did do 10. And the next week he did 15. Okay. And eventually, not only he did 50 push-ups, he was picking up trash off the beach. He was going to the library and reading. He was going to the beach to meditate. He was doing all the other things that naturally progressed. So yeah, we're talking about lots of fun habits, but we got to give ourselves a break. One day I walked into the homeless shelter. He had a tear in his eye. He says, "Dr. Bell, I'm going to miss you so badly." And I immediately thought, uh-oh, because, the police come, if they mess up, they're out. They have very, strict guidelines. He says, "I got a job and I'm moving into my own place. I've reconnected with my daughter and I got a job." I mean, that just melts your heart. Okay.
Yes.
This stuff really, really works. And that's one of many stories. Yeah.
And what he became in the process as a result of this. And that is probably so true on all the spectrum of life. Homeless is one thing, but this kind of application of this on, just imagine what we could become as achievers, as visionaries, as people who are really wanting to make a major impact in the world.
Wow,
well said, Lynn. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Randy, this is extraordinary. We're so delighted to spend such quality time with you.
I just have quickly. I have one. I'm a burning question.
A burning desire question.
Burning desire question.
Okay.
You've mentioned Bob Proctor a few times.
Yeah.
And, when I went on your Amazon website, or the Amazon website, to look at your book, and I was looking at the testimonials. Bob Proctor gave you a written testimonial, and there was his name and everything. And so he took the effort to go on and give you a testimonial. It was so heartwarming what he said, that because of your book, you're showing people that even a small, minuscule change of just what we were talking about, doing one thing to change, has such a dramatic impact on the quality of your life. And he said this book and Dr. Randall Bell is making such a difference because of the importance that just a small adjustment can make in your life. And
it could be the difference.
What did you feel like when you saw that testimonial come in?
Well, gee whiz. I mean, it just is so gratifying because I spent years doing this research. 5,000 people is a lot of people to survey. And I've got a team at the office that does this, helps out. But it was a lot of work. And to get that feedback is very validating. And
didn't he endorse your book?
What's that?
Yes.
Did he endorse it? I mean,
oh yeah. Bob did, and Stephen M.R. Covey did, and I've got just all kinds of wonderful people. And getting that feedback, from Bob and the others is really helpful because you put so much work into it, and when as an author, you're kind of saying, okay, here's my thing, and then is the world gonna ignore it or laugh and walk away, or are they gonna embrace it? It was very satisfying to realize I'd maybe helped a few people. Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, we want to acknowledge all the good work that you do in the world, with
that's right. And you've been acknowledged on television. You were on what was it? The Today Show?
Yeah, I was on the Today Show and the Hallmark Channel, all the networks, BBC, network television in Australia, Canada, all over the place. And it keeps going. Yeah. And, occasionally I got a message the other day from a kid that worked at a car wash. A friend of mine had the book and the kid wiping down the car, he was done reading it. He gave it to a kid. Next time we went to the car wash, the kid ran out and said, "You've changed my life. I'm taking the steps now to make these little habits, and I'm going to college. I never thought I would." So getting that kind of feedback is worth everything.
That is so beautiful. Well, if someone wants to get in touch with you, what would they do?
Just go to drbell.com. I'm easy to find. I'm not
Dr.
hiding out.
Yes, we'll have that right here in the.
We'll put it in the
chat as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that both you, Julie, and Lynn, you've brought together some brilliant minds in terms of motivation and so forth. But we all know there's some junk science out there. There's people that come up with real anecdotal stuff. What I've tried to contribute to the whole conversation is scientifically validated things we can do on a real practical basis that have powerful results. And that's a fun conversation to have every time.
Well, I've had a great time, and certainly everybody here has had a lot of fun. Please put fun in the chat, everybody. Fun in the chat. It's just been,
absolutely.
This has really been so fun, and it just gets me all excited when we talk about the can-do attitude, the can-do spirit, and the things that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, you're a giant in the motivation. We so appreciate it and so appreciate the work you're doing.
Thanks, Julie. You guys are the very, very best. I've never seen ever such a wonderful assembly of the great minds and thought leaders in this space. So congratulations to both of you for doing that.
Well, thank you. It was so fun, and we're continuing. This is part of it. And thank you so much for being with us, Randy. It's been so great to have you here. Let's all put "thank you, Randy."
Thank you, Randy, in the chat, because this will come out. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, and I'd love to hear the feedback and any other. I've come up with a couple great ideas already. I love the feedback. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Right.
We'll get all the feedback back to you. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone.